one as only one thing, and certainly the incident that occurred needed to be reported so that it would be investigated, but absent other information about the context of that happening, someone putting an arm around someone and having a sensation of being stroked or those kinds of things, then certainly. But as an HR professional, I don't know that I would say only that. I would say categorically is a violation of the sexual harassment policy. Usually there's more that we need to look at. And so I'm not trying to be difficult or withhold something. Certainly it was unwelcome. I would say that Ms. McKenzie felt that the behavior was sexually oriented in nature. But when you do an investigation, you have to look at more than just what the complainant would state. You look at what the witnesses would state. You look at all the other factors. So that's a very long explanation of why I wouldn't just say yes or no.
So in other words, to break this one down there in this, she did tell you that she believed that what the mayor was doing towards her was sexual in nature.
No, I don't believe that she did say that. She said that it was creepy. She said that she wished it didn't happen, but I don't know. In fact, she told me it was not sexual harassment. So,
well, she used the word that she didn't feel harassed, right? She didn't use the word it wasn't sexual harassment, did she?
My recollection is that she didn't think it was sexual harassment, and I had expressed to her that I thought on its face it should at least be reported as that to be investigated further.
No further questions.
Did she elaborate as to why she personally did not feel this was sexual harassment?
I don't recall any elaboration. I recall asking her how she felt. I recall asking her, what she thought of the incident. And this was almost 3 years ago. And I recall her saying to me that she didn't think it was sexual harassment, that she wasn't intimidated, and that she just thought it was creepy and that he was creepy. That's my recollection.
And did she ever mention anything to you about Mr. Filner touching her buttocks?
I don't recall anything like that.
No other questions, Your Honor?
No questions.
All right, ma'am, thank you. You are excused. Mr. Schaefer, your next witness, if you please.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the defendant is called Daniel Daeri.
Mr. Daeri, please, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Daeri comes forward, stop right there, raise your right hand to be sworn, please.
In the matter now pending before this court, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right.
Thank you. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Daniel Daeri, D-A-N-I-E-L-D-A-N-E-R-I.
Okay, Mr. Schaefer, you may inquire of Mr. Daeri.
Yeah, first the podium. Indeed. Mr. Daeri, do you work for the city of San Diego?
Yes, I do.
And how long have you been working for the city?
Probably a little over 18 years.
At some point during your career with the city, have you worked for the Department of Park and Recreation?
That's correct, I have.
Was that during that entire time or just part of it?
There was 2 years when I went to environmental services.
So most of the time you've worked for that department.
That's correct.
What is your title currently?
Deputy Director of the Beaches and Shoreline Parks.
I want to go back to April 21st, 2013. What was your position then?
District Manager, the same as it is now.
As a district manager, what are your responsibilities?
Overseeing and managing the crews that service the beaches and shoreline parks, and also working with budgets and, kind of the nuts and bolts of that side of it.
You know the plaintiff, Stacy McKenzie.
Yes, I do.
We've had testimony that she is a district manager. Is that correct?
As far as I know, yes.
Does that mean she has the same position as you do?
It's the same position except over Mission Bay Park.
So you have responsibility over different parks,
Correct.
and she has responsibility over Mission Bay Park.
Correct.
Other than the geographical differences, based on your knowledge, are the responsibilities very similar?
They're somewhat similar, yeah.
Now, I want to set aside the working relationship you have with her. Are you a friend of hers?
Yeah, I would say so.
Would it be fair to say you're a good friend of hers?
I guess so, yeah.
Where is your office situated?
It's in the administrative building, 2125 Park Boulevard on the 3rd floor.
Is that in Balboa Park?
It's in Balboa Park, correct.
And where is Ms. McKenzie's office located?
Directly across from mine.
So you're on the same floor in the same building in the same park.
Correct.
Because of that, back in April 2013, were you in a good position to see her on a daily basis?
Definitely, yes.
And has that been true since then?
Yes, it has.
Now let's talk about right before April 21st, 2013. How long did you have an office right across from hers?
I don't know when she started as district manager, but I believe the entire time she's been in the building. I was a district manager before she was, and when she was promoted to district manager, she was assigned the office across from me on the 4th floor, and then we were moved to the 3rd floor, and we had the same arrangement. She was across from my office.
Are we talking about months or years before April 21st, 2013 that she had an office right across from you?
Yeah, I would say years. I don't recall exactly when she promoted, but yeah, it seemed like definitely years.
Now let's talk about April 22nd, 2013, a Monday. Did you have a discussion with Ms. McKenzie on what had happened the day before?
I believe that was the day.
What do you remember her telling you?
Well, if that's the date we're talking, that we talked about, that she told me that she had been at an event in Mission Bay Park, and
Did she tell you what the nature of the event was? The name of it?
I can't recall what the nature of the event was,
Okay, fair enough.
but that the mayor had been there, and that she introduced herself to the mayor, and she walked away, and he approached her after that.
Did she tell you what he did after he approached her?
I can't remember exactly how it was, but there was some discussion that he had approached her from behind and put her arm around her from behind and held onto her arm or something.
And which mayor are you referring to?
Mr. Filner.
Anything else that she told you about the incident that you can recall? I realize it's been years.
Not a whole lot, no.
What was her demeanor as she's telling you what had happened with Mayor Filner?
Somewhat indifferent, kind of what I've seen from her before.
What do you mean by that?
She kind of seemed like her normal self.
Did she in any way appear to be upset by what she was describing?
No, I think I said she seemed just like she was a little creeped out by it or something.
Did this seem like a big deal to her?
Not at that time.
Did she tell you that when she went to this event where she saw Mr. Filner, anything about going there at the request of an event organizer, a gentleman by the name of Mike Schneider?
I don't recall that, no.
Now, have you dealt with event organizers yourself?
Oh, yeah, on weekly basis.
Do you recall there ever being an occasion that you went to an event because the event organizer requested you to show up?
I don't believe I have, no, sir.
So in all those years of your performance as a district manager, that's never happened?
Not that I can recall at all.
Now, we've had testimony about a ranger by the name of Stephanie Ferris. Do you know such a person?
I know of. I wouldn't classify it as knowing her very well, other than in the office, seeing her and saying, "Hi, Stephanie."
Does she still work for the city of San Diego?
No, I don't believe she does.
Do you know when she left her employment?
No, I don't.
May I approach the witness line?
By all means.
Martin, if you could display for the benefit of the jurors Exhibit 110, which has been received into evidence. And if we can start from the bottom. Mr. Daeri, for the record, you have that in front of you, is that right?
That's correct.
Now it says here that Ms. McKenzie sent you this email on Monday, April 22nd, 2013 at 10:58 a.m. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Do you recognize that as being a city email?
Yeah, I guess I do, yes.
Now, your conversation with her about what had happened during the Claremont days involving Mr. Filner, was that before that email was sent?
I can't say for sure. I don't know the exact timeline on exactly our events.
Do you know why she'd be sending you a picture of Mayor Filner at that time, just out of the blue?
Objection calls for speculation.
Line of the witness's testimony sustained.
Do you know why she, well, but you did get that email, correct?
Correct.
We can go a little bit up. Two minutes later, the exhibit reflects, this email reflects that you wrote Ms. McKenzie, and the statement there is, will you ever wash that arm? And there's 5 question marks. You see
Yeah,
that?
I would say at that point right there, we'd had the conversation prior to that.
Okay. Why were you asking that question of Ms. McKenzie in an email 2 minutes after she had sent a picture of Mayor Filner?
I don't know, kind of like when a rock star touches somebody, they say they'll never wash their arm again. So that was kind of the gist of my, that I was aware he touched her arm, and I was kind of kidding around like that.
Did you consider this to be a joke?
Oh, yes.
Would you have joked with her had you thought she was really upset by what had happened?
Objection calls for speculation.
I would draw that question down. Let's go to the top of the email. Did she, a minute later, reply to you, asking you, or stating to you, seriously, I put sanitizer on my arms and hands when I got into my car at the Yanza parking lot?
Well, I'd say that's definitely indicated here that she did reply.
So you got that email?
Yes.
Do you know where the Yanza parking lot is?
It's on the east shore of Mission Bay.
So it's right there in that Mission Bay Park.
Correct.
Now, if you could, in your book, just go one exhibit earlier, Exhibit 109, your tab. What is it? 109.
Okay.
We'll display that on the screen. It's been received in evidence. And if we could go to the text of April 22nd, 2013, do you see where in that there's a series of text over time? There's one that says Stacy McKenzie, 5:04:56 p.m. Dan, where are you? Bob would not like me walking out to my car alone. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Could you, in your own words, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the context in which that happened, that text was received?
My understanding was that, if someone expects, like a spouse or a good friend to walk you out to the vehicle, that after work, we walked out every day, or every day that we left at the same time, we'd walk out together, and I just assumed that that meant that.
Did you know who she was referring to about Bob would not like her walking out to her car alone?
Objection calls for speculation. Overruled, you may answer.
Yes, I did.
What did you think she was talking about?
Objection calls for speculation. Overruled.
Mayor Filner. Bob Filner.
Did you take that as a serious comment?
Objection leading. Suggested. Overruled.
No.
How did you take it?
I took it as she was joking about the situation.
And this was on April 22nd, 2013.
That's correct.
Who is Susan Lowry Mendoza?
She's a fellow district manager.
Was she a district manager at that time as well? Did you know?
I believe so. I know I was the first of that trio.
Oh. May I quote you again, Your Honor?
Of course. Counsel may freely approach to assist witnesses with the exhibit.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Daeri, I just opened the binder to Exhibit 144, which has not been received in evidence. Let me set the foundation for that. 144.
Will you give me a description, please, Mr. Schaefer?
Yes, Your Honor. That's a Google map. Have you ever heard of a building called the City Administration Building?
Yes, I have. It's also referred to as CAB.
So among city employees, they talk about it frequently as CAB.
Correct.
Where is the City Administration Building in relation to where you and Ms. McKenzie were working in Balboa Park and continue to work?
It's downtown from Balboa Park. I don't know how many blocks or exactly how far.
What offices are in the City Administration Building?
There's various offices. City Council, the Maintenance Assessment District has all their offices. I have a payroll office that I deliver some payroll documents to. Yes, I know City Council and council chambers are there.
Where's the mayor's office located?
It's in that building.
You have the mayor's office on one floor, is that correct?
Yes, I believe it's one of the upper floors.
Towards the top?
Yeah.
And then you've got City Council
City Council, council chambers are up there.
and City Council member offices.
Yeah, they're also in that building.
Is there a city clerk in that building?
I believe there is.
And then you mentioned on one floor there's payroll.
Our payroll, yes, is in the same floor as the maintenance assessment districts. All of their offices are the cubicles.
And then on the other hand, have you ever heard of a building called Civic Center Plaza Building?
Oh, yes, I have.
There's some city employees refer to that frequently as CCP.
Oh, that's correct.
And generally, what's in this other building?
I believe real estate assets are in there. The city attorney's office is in there. I don't know if there's any, I think that's really why I've been there.
And are the city administration building and the Civic Center Plaza building relatively close to each other?
I guess relatively close. It's across a rather large plaza.
Now, looking at that Google map, do you recognize the approximate location of the Civic Center Plaza building and the city administration building in relation to the Balboa Park office that you and Ms. McKenzie work in?
Yeah, it looks like it's correctly depicted.
You're offered that in evidence just to provide context.
Okay.
Let me see it, would you please? Sure. $144 is received.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mark, could you put that on the screen, please? And if we could magnify up to the right, that area up there, Mr. Daeri. You see where it says Stacy McKenzie's office, 2125 Park Boulevard. Is that the location you were referring to as to where you and her work?
Yeah, it actually is. I was kind of trying to get my bearings, but where you have your cursor, yes, that's the building.
All right. And then if we could go to the other part of this map. You see where it says CCP building?
Yeah, that looks correct.
And then where this big red arrow, is that the city administration
That's
building?
cab. That is cab, yes.
And that's where the mayor's office is?
That's correct.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Martin. Now, we've had testimony in this case about Ms. McKenzie not answering her phone at times. Do you know whether back in 2013, if someone was calling from within the city to a city phone at the Balboa Park office that you and Ms. McKenzie were in, that you could, from the caller ID, see the number coming in?
Objection, Wax Foundation, false suspicion.
Overruled, you may answer.
You can see the individual's name in most cases or a number.
But in fairness, if the person was calling from outside the city, you wouldn't see the name?
It kind of depends. We get some that it shows up and some that don't. I don't really know how the system works.
Okay. Did you ever, being sort of right across from her office, Ms. McKenzie's office, ever see her not answering the phone around that time frame of April 22nd, 2013 and thereafter?
Objection, Wax Foundation.
It does lack foundations.
Did you ever notice any changed office behavior on the part of Ms. McKenzie after April 21st, 2013?
Objection, Daeri, ambiguous.
Sustained.
Did you ever see any change in how she was acting within her office after April 21st, 2013 in terms of handling her work there with the phone and whatnot?
Objection, Wax Foundation.
Yeah, right there at the end, you messed it up. And whatnot makes it vague.
All right, let me see if I can.
Sustained.
I'm batting zero here. Did you ever see any change in her office behavior after April 21st, 2013 with respect to answering the phone?
Objection, Daeri, ambiguous.
Overruled, you may answer.
No.
Did she typically keep her door open?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
And how about you?
Generally, yes.
Is this a high traffic area, the two offices you have?
I wouldn't say high traffic, no.
Okay. Now, do you know anything about what's called the Special Events Committee?
No.
You know where special events meets?
I know where the special events office is, yes.
Okay. Could you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what is the special events office?
The special events office is an office when there's going to be large special events. Oftentimes they'll call a meeting. I can call a couple meetings, and you can get together with the organizers. You can look at the event, the pre-event, and kind of figure out if there's going to be issues you want to talk about. Then once they start to finalize it, you can meet and look at that and discuss it. We'll get together with like the insurance people, the police, everybody that's involved in that, and find out if there's any issues with traffic routing, concerns about what's going to take place in the park, damage to the park. It's just kind of a place where you work out the details of these special events.
Where is that office located?
It's located in the CCP building.
The Civic Center Plaza building?
Correct.
Not the city administration building?
No.
And when they have their meetings, where do they meet? Typically?
I don't know what floor they meet in that building.
Same building?
Yeah, the CCC building, correct.
And you as a manager, did you periodically attend such meetings there at the CCP building?
Yeah, I did.
And to your knowledge, is there another special events office located in the city administration building?
Not to my knowledge.
So would it be fair to say that for those occasions that you had to attend these special events meetings, it was not required to in any way go through the city administration building?
That's fair to say, yes.
Where the mayor is located?
Correct.
Now, do you know of, I think you mentioned there's a payroll office there in the city administration building.
That's correct.
What floor is the payroll office?
It's on the 5th floor.
And based on your experience as a district manager back in April 2013, let's say all the way through August 2013, did you find it necessary to go to the payroll office there in the city administration building?
On occasion, I would, yes.
On occasion, how often does that mean?
It really depends. It depended on our inter-office mail, how things were going, if we had new employees, if we had paperwork that was signed and we wanted to get the wet copy down there. I'll go there once, twice a month, maybe, something like that.
Rather than going there in person once or twice a month, is there the option of sending things by inter-office mail to the city?
Yes, there is.
And are most things handled with respect to payroll electronically?
I don't know. I guess you could say most. The input of our hours and our time is done electronically and it's approved, but we still have a paper trail for overtime and for various leave slips, various medical paperwork. So there's, it's not all done electronically, but it is.
For the one or two times a month, the occasional times you would have to go to the payroll office, what generally was the purpose of doing that?
It would just be to take leave slips by to go to payroll, something like that. If one of my other crew supervisors that came by, oftentimes I'd delegate to them and say, why don't you guys just take everything by?
Are you saying it wasn't necessary that you personally go there for that purpose?
No, it's not.
And this city inter-office mail, how fast is it? Like U.S. mail, snail mail?
It can be slow.
Slow in what way?
You put something in the mail on Friday when you complete your payroll, and you could be getting an email from your payroll clerk on Tuesday asking where everything's at.
But typically, is it a matter of days?
2 or 3 days, yeah, something like that.
Now, the times that you have been at the city administration building during your long tenures at the city, how often have you run into the mayor?
Not very often at all.
And why do you think that is?
Repetition calls for speculation.
Sustained on other grounds.
Okay.
All of it.
Do you have any word on that? No. Okay. I think you mentioned the mayor's office is towards the top of CAB, is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
And the payroll office is much lower on the fifth floor?
Yeah, it's not a real tall building, so it's 4 or 5 floors below it.
And during the limited interactions that you've had to go to CAB, have you, for instance, frequently run into the mayor on the elevator or anywhere in the building?
Objection to relevance.
Overruled. You may answer.
I don't know if it's ever occurred in the building, maybe outside in the plaza on a fairly rare occasion.
And I'm talking about not just Mayor Filner, but Mayor Sanders.
Yeah. Correct, and it's not really running into them, it's maybe seeing them across the plaza, something like that.
Now, let's talk about the Civic Center Plaza building. Have you ever run into him, a mayor there in the Civic Center Plaza building that you recall?
Not that I recall, no.
So the times that you would go to these special events, meetings that convene in that building where their office is, you've just not run into the mayor there.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
I'm talking about Mayor Sanders, Mayor
No,
Filner,
I understand.
and Mayor Filner.
Correct.
I want to switch topics to the environment that's in your building, not CAB, not CCP, but this building, the Balboa Park building. As far as Ms. McKenzie goes, did you see anything in the workplace after April 21st, 2013 that you would characterize as appearing to be hostile towards her?
No.
And fair question is, how about before that date, did you see anything like that?
Objection to last comment.
Overruled. You may answer.
You said hostile, correct?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what, between employees?
Well, that's a good, fair question. Did it appear to you in any way that she was being mistreated by co-employees or supervisors after April 21st, 2013?
I don't know the date, but I know there were times when one of our deputy directors was pretty rough on her and most of us at times, yes.
Okay, and when was that?
I don't know the exact dates on that.
A particular time, but putting that one instance, were there any other occasions that you saw any change in her work environment there at the Balboa Park building
Not that I recall.
in terms of how supervisors interacted with her
No,
or co-employees?
not that I recall.
Did you ever see, after April 21, 2013, many signs of illness on her part?
Objection to last foundation. Improper. Expert opinion.
Overruled. You may answer.
Nothing out of the ordinary other than you would expect from a coworker.
Did you ever, from what you saw of her after April 21st, 2013, see any, what you perceived as behavior on her part that looked like she was afraid that someone might be around?
Objection calls for speculation. Last foundation.
Overruled. You may answer.
No, I did not.
Do you have at this building, the Balboa Park building, staff meetings?
Yes, we do.
And how frequently are those conducted?
Generally, they're scheduled every other week.
Do you recall, Ms. McKenzie, after April 21st, 2013, having any drop in attendance at the staff meetings?
No.
Do you have also what are called communication meetings there?
Yeah.
Let me finish the question. At the Balboa Park.
Yes, we do. Well, they're generally there.
And what are these communication meetings?
It's the deputy directors, district managers, et cetera, get together and meet with the director of Park and Recreation.
Did you see any drop in attendance by Ms. McKenzie after April 21st, 2013 and going to those meetings?
Not that I noticed, no.
Would it be fair to say that in terms of her attendance at meetings before that date, April 21st, 2013, there was just no perception by you of any change in her attendance level at these meetings after that date?
Objection calls for speculating. Leading and suggesting.
Overruled. You may answer.
I don't know that I would have noticed it. I didn't notice it.
You don't recall that?
I don't recall noticing it now.
Now, I want to ask you whether you have ever been given by the City of San Diego sexual harassment training.
Yes, I have.
And I know you've been working for the city for a very long time. Do you remember approximately when the city started training you on that?
I don't remember now. It's been quite some time.
When you say quite some time, can you give me your best estimate how many years back?
Yeah, it almost seems like when I was hired, there was when I became a supervisor, for sure, there was some type of training that began.
And refresh our recollection, when did you become a supervisor?
16 years ago.
So for 16 years, you have been getting periodic sexual harassment training from the City of San Diego.
I believe it's annually, yes.
And in addition to the annual training, is there any kind of review of EO policies, that type of thing?
Yes, there is.
When does that normally occur?
I can't remember specifically, but it's kind of lumped together usually.
All right. Do you remember what the city trained you in terms of, as a supervisor, whether you had a duty to report what you perceived as may constitute sexual harassment?
Now you were to report it to your supervisor or chain of command.
Mandatory.
Mandatory.
I would like to conclude my examination with just asking you a few questions about whether after April 21st, 2013, Ms. McKenzie ever opened up to you about some stress factors in her life that were taking place.
She got stressed out about her car in automobile accidents.
When did she have this automobile accident?
There was several times in the last 3 years.
And so she did tell you, as far as these car accidents, that was stressing her out.
You could tell when she came to work.
Any other type of stress that she reported to you, confided in you after April 21st, 2013?
About her children and various, factors.
What about the kids?
That it's, she's a single parent. It can be difficult. I know they've had some, I don't know if I'd say health issues, but she misses work because of them, and she was concerned about that.
Any discussion of financial stress?
Well, recently she's been talking about sending her kids to college and asking me how I paid for my son to go to college.
So she's told you of her concerns about being able to pay to put her son in college.
That's correct.
And she asked her, how do you do this?
That's correct. Sit down.
I'm showing the witness Exhibit 117, which has not been received in evidence. Did she ever confide in you about any stress that she was having with a particular supervisor at work?
Yeah, I believe we both confided in each other about a certain supervisor.
And who would that be?
Would be Kathleen Hassenauer.
And was this after April 21st, 2013?
I was probably before and after.
So that stress event stayed the same?
Pretty much, yeah.
And this Exhibit 117, is that an email chain that was forwarded to you that had reflected correspondence between Ms. Hassenauer and Ms. McKenzie?
Yeah, it appears to be.
And did she have, in the email chain at the very conclusion of it, did she ever express frustration to you about Ms. Hassenauer?
I would say it appears so.
That is where we will leave it for the noon recess. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please remember the admonitions in case you forgot them over the long weekend. They are summarized as follows. Please don't form or express any opinions about the case. Please, no independent research or